You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land, and sea. You know, the only people that I believe that I'm kind of okay with allowing that moniker, that description to happen are the Marines. Because the Marines have been kicking ass for over 200 years. They're bad to the bone.
You ever heard them sing? You ever heard a company of them fire that song off?
I don't know if
when I was in, and when you're in, you got your badge on, you kind of like, oh man, whatever, you know, hey,
right.
But now you're older and you reflect back on that stuff, man. Listen, I was even impressed then when you're around a gaggle of them and they start firing that thing off. Usually late at night after everything's been beat down, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And you get all them baritones firing that. It's powerful.
It's pretty awesome,
yeah,
dude. Well, you think of the legacy of the Marine Corps, and you think of the heritage. You think of, you think of just the magnitude literally from Northern Africa through the Revolutionary War, through the Civil War, they've been a part of
all the way up to Major Payne.
Why do you got to go there, dude? Why do you got to bring Major Payne? It's a funny movie. I like it. But come on, man. Chesty Puller would shoot you in your face right now if you made that association.
Dude,
you know that,
right?
They
still carrying the torch. Our Secretary of Defense's nickname is Mad Dog. Let me tell you something.
Mad Dog Mattis, brother.
A general officer to get a name Mad Dog, your men got to give you that one in the Corps. That's close to the...
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen, like, the T-shirts out there right now with Mad Dog Mattis, and they are hilarious, bro. And my favorite one that just came out, you know, he was on the Hill testifying before Congress, and some Congress person said, General, what keeps you up at night? He goes, I keep people up at night.
Hell yeah. Right? I don't get PTSD, man. We give it.
Oh, man, the Marine Corps. That's why today's show is so awesome, because we have one of the Marine Corps' finest in its entire history on the show. Think about that. I want you gents to wrap your mind around that fact. We are bringing on one of the most significant Marines in its history, Medal of Honor recipient Kyle Carpenter. That's big time, brother. That's big time.
Oh, man, you try to get me to explain this one in the beginning. It'll take all day, man. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Right?
That's
right?
a big deal.
That's a big deal.
I normally don't change the facial expressions when I say something's going to hurt you or it's a big deal. Ask the wizard.
No, you're pretty stoic.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You just give that regular look. But that's a different look I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, man. These guys, they're sporting that one. They come walking in, you find, I don't care who you are, where you at, what you're doing, stop what you're doing, go over there, pay your respects.
Literally. And all the traditions that go with it.
Once you go through something, the crucible that he had to go through and then be acknowledged by the Marine Corps, that's a big deal, man. You just pick your poison, whatever profession you want, man. You better spend a lifetime in it to get half the amount of respect this dude carries around
from his act. And that's serious. So I think it's critical, Wizard. And you said so yourself. You think it's, it's always essential with these individuals to have an ignition point to launch off on this show. Now, before we get into that and read his citation, Wizard's going to read the citation, I want to just thank all of our listeners for coming back, all right? If you're coming back here, welcome back to the T&Q podcast. Man, we are so stoked. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't be as successful as we've been. We couldn't be at the numbers over 2.3 million downloads in just a year. Nominated as one of iTunes top of 2016.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's because of you. It's because of how you guys have warmed up, and it's also because of our guests, right? These incredible human beings that come on to share their greatest never quit story or stories for you, for the listener, in order to help you basically go into the combat of life with a never quit mindset. And that's big, man. And that's big. If this is your first time here, well, welcome aboard there, sailor. Welcome aboard, shipmate, because you're in store for a show that is going to blow your doors off. You are going to learn so much from this man, from who he is, from what he's doing in his life, what he's been through, that there's no doubt in my military mind that you will take something significant away from this show, along with every other show that we try and provide for you. So thank you. If you want to know more about, if this is your first time, you can download us on iTunes, go to the iTunes app, subscribe. You can listen to us on demand at any time, whether you're waking up in the morning, driving into work, coming home from work, you're having a bad day, you just got yelled at by somebody you care about, and you need to get back in the fight. We're always there for you. Or go to our website at tnqpodcast.com and check us out there. All right, Wizard, I think the most appropriate thing to set the stage for our listeners and for this incredible honor of this interview that we're going to do, would you please start us out with Kyle's citation?
Absolutely, absolutely. Presented to William Kyle Carpenter. Citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity, at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as an automatic rifleman in Company F, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, Regimental Combat Team 1, 1st Marine Division, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, in support of Operation Enduring Freedom on 21 November 2010. Lance Corporal Carpenter, as a member of a platoon-sized coalition force comprised of 2 reinforced Marine rifle squads partnered with an Afghan National Army squad. The platoon had established Patrol Base Dakota 2 days earlier in a small village in the Marja district in order to disrupt enemy activity and provide security for local Afghan population. Lance Corporal Carpenter and a fellow Marine were manning a rooftop security position on the perimeter of Patrol Base Dakota when the enemy initiated a daylight attack with hand grenades, one of which landed inside their sandbag position. Without hesitation and with complete disregard for his own safety, Lance Corporal Carpenter moved toward the grenade in an attempt to shield his fellow Marine from the deadly blast. When the grenade detonated, his body absorbed the brunt of the blast, severely wounding him, but saving the life of his fellow Marine. By his undaunted courage, bold fighting spirit, and unwavering devotion to duty in the face of almost certain death, Lance Corporal Carpenter reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.
Semper Fi, dude.
Well,
Do or die, man. I hear that thing. I swear to God, I get so fired up because that's the epitome. That's what it's all about, right? That's why we put the uniform on. That's why we go through hell. That's why we go overseas. So, you can instill in your brothers that's inside of you. He did it. He did it and he lived.
well,
man.
what are we talking about here? I mean, we throw the uniform on, we go through the training, we get the mind, and everything, just military bearing, everything's wired into us, and then there's the test.
The test.
How far we're going to take this?
Unbelievable.
The biggest one, if it ever worked, right? If what we're doing is a real thing, if you got some guy jumping on a grenade for some dudes he wasn't born with, didn't come from the same town, not the same color, the same religion, and the fact that the love is so great in the uniform that I'm willing to jump on this damn thing and chew it up and die if necessary, just so you guys have the opportunity to put a boot in the dude's ass who threw it up here, I'm game, man. And you can't. I mean that blows people. That blows my mind. We talk about all the time when you hear the Medal of Honor, or you hear somebody that gets it. Everyone kind of thinks in your head, badass gunfight. But there's that one. Everyone's like, man, jumping on a grade. That's the biggest one right there.
When I heard about Mike Monsoor, it shook me to my core. It still does. It still does.
I mean, there's a reason why there's we use that saying out in town, and we just kind of throw it around. But hey, bro, I'll jump a grenade for you, or I got to jump. Because that's that's the biggest one. It resonates through the entire community, through the world, man. Dude jumped on a grenade for you.
It's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yep.
That action just seems to distill down so many of the core ideals that you have with the guy next to you in combat into one act. I think that's why it's so powerful.
Hey, man, this dude, if he tells you he's got your back, he does. He's like, hey, man, I got your back. I believe you.
All right, man. I can't wait anymore, dude. We got to get him on. Let's bring him on. Let's get Kyle Carpenter, Medal of Honor recipient, on the show.
Let's do it.
Marcus, I don't know if you feel it on me, but I feel like my skin is about to just catch on fire, dude. I'm so fired up about this one, man. And it's been going on not just for the last week or two when I first made contact with him, but this has been going on for months and months since when we first started the podcast a year ago, brother. And my good friend Lex McMahon with Titan FC, he's a former Marine. He said, "Hey, Rut." And I'm like, "What's up, White Buffalo?" And he goes, "Brother, I've got the perfect guy for the show." I go, "Who? Send it. Let me hear it." He goes, "Brother, I can introduce you to Kyle Carpenter." I said, don't play with me, dude, because Kyle Carpenter is what our listeners need, man. So guess what, Marcus?
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? He's here, brother. He's here with us, and I'm fired up.
Yeah, no, this is probably, when it comes to these guys, man, this is probably one of the best guys we've had on the show.
Hands down!
I mean, you got to understand what he's gone through and what he's in, and kind of the fraternity that he represents right now. It's the only fraternity on the planet the president has to salute first. I'm going to tell you what that means.
Dude, that's heavy.
That puts it in perspective.
That does. That just summed it up. That just made it even bigger for me. Now,
President of the United States walks into a room, has to render a salute to that guy. That ought to tell you the sacrifice that he made for everybody listening right now. So, let's get him. Let's get him on.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, American all over the world, it is a distinct honor, and I'm serious, Kyle, about this. It is a distinct honor to welcome you to the TNQ podcast, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Well, let's just start off with, that was by far the best and most badass introduction I have ever had. So, thank you so much.
Look around.
It just gets better, dude.
Y'all are awesome, and I truly appreciate you having me, and I'm excited about it. And, first and foremost, before you do anything, I just want to thank you for your service. As you have already told me, it's greatly appreciated, and great podcast, and great people. Continue to get the good word about our military and those that wear the uniform and the sacrifices they make out there. So hats off to you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, so Kyle, what we got to do, brother, is we've got to get loosened up. We've got to stretch out. We've got to massage our prefrontal cortex. We've got to start flickering those little amygdalas in the limbic system. And the way we do that here on the TNQ podcast is how, Marcus?
Mad Minute.
The Mad Minute. Now, Wizard, give a little brief back on what the Mad Minute is to Kyle for me, will you please?
The Mad Minute. The Mad Minute is going to be a rapid-fire series of questions meant to be answered immediately, the first thing that comes to your mind. These questions will be any range from serious to completely ridiculous. Most important, first thing that comes to your mind.
Check, Roger?
All right, this will be my first minute of getting grilled like this, but I think I'm ready.
I know you're ready. You're a Marine, man. You're a Marine. Semper Fi, Dallas, dude.
Simple, but Dave, you're getting me real excited, Dave. You better calm
I
down,
can't, brother.
I'm getting real excited.
Dude, when I'm telling you,
This is it right here.
when I'm telling you how fired up I am that you're on this show, dude, I mean it, man. And that's why this is going to be fun. Marcus, go ahead and lock and load that Ma Deuce in Unleash, please.
All right, high school mascot.
Knights.
I dig it. Mine was a Scotsman, a dude in a dress.
Did y'all play in kilts?
Huh?
Did y'all play in kilts?
You don't have to take it down that road, but
Well, I mean, how devoted were you?
Stop evading the question.
listen, we played like we were in dresses. We were 0-10 my senior year. Sorry, next question.
Hey, maybe we should be asking you this minute of questions.
I refuse to answer. I plead the fifth. All right, Wizard.
All right, here we go. If you could pick one vehicle you want to own, what would it be?
I hate to sound materialistic, but I would definitely have to say a Porsche Panamera.
Oh, I love those,
Absolutely.
dude.
You got to go big.
I love those. All right. What movie, if you had one movie to choose to watch for the rest of your days, what movie would that be?
Saving Private Ryan.
Ah, dude, that gets me every time.
That's a fantastic. I don't know how many times I've seen that. It never gets old.
It's one of those
It
ones.
never gets old. It keeps getting better, actually. Everything about it. I mean, the way it was done, not only is it just an amazing movie, but to, really see, whether you lasted 1 second, whether you did not get off the boat, or, whether you made it till, the end of the war, just to see, those men step off of those landing crafts onto that beach and know that they might only have seconds, left to live. And, just seeing what they went through and knowing, and with every generation that raises their right hand, I mean, that's so incredible and powerful, but to have raised your right hand, in World War II when, it was storming beaches and, it was uniform on uniform and weapon against weapon and man against man. It's just, it's almost so powerful you can't even wrap your mind or your thoughts around it. But, if I had to pick a movie, it would be that, because it would, always, like you said, if I had to watch every single day or for the rest of my life and that was it, that is a movie that will always and forever keep things and put things in perspective for you.
Man, Kyle, that's a hell of an answer, brother. All right, Marcus, fire away.
All right, brother. Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man. Ironically. Ironically, Spider-Man for sure.
How can it not be?
Dude, you just made Marcus's day, Kyle.
Hey, even when
You
people
just
say-
totally made Marcus's
Like
day.
other guests, they say something else. I always write Spider-Man beside their name, anyways.
In the hopes that somehow they'll change their minds, they'll get to where
And
the
that's
ultimate
Spider-Man.
is. All right, Wizard, fire.
Would you rather be able to see in the dark or breathe underwater?
Oh, man, that is a great one. See in the dark.
Oh, that's
Why?
cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I could have an exact answer on that, but most of us are out of the water the majority of our life. So to be able to see in the dark, I think would be, give me a little bit more of an advantage. But, both would be awesome to be able to do.
Very cool. All right, if you could pick any decade in history to go back and live through, what decade would you choose?
Oh, man. These are rapid fire?
Not really. We just pretend it is so we can catch you off guard.
I would, it might sound cheesy, but I would say, right now. In
Oh,
this
that's
decade,
cool.
To have the opportunities that I've had and to have met the people that I've met and to have learned the lessons that I learned. As fun and as awesome as some of the other, decades might be and might have been, I would have to say right now, because, I'm living a great life that I'm very thankful to be around to have a second chance at.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
fair.
That's the end of the Mad Minute. It's usually like 10 minutes, but that's the perfect answer to end on. All right, Kyle. So the reason why we're doing this show is to help the people that are out there that are searching within themselves, that are looking deep inside for that spark, for that fuel to light that fire in their guts so that they can overcome adversity and face the real negative insurgencies of life and the combat of life with the never quit mindset. So that's why they come to our show. That's what they're looking for. So would you please, brother, could you please share with our listeners and with us your greatest never quit story or stories?
Absolutely. That is a great mission, a great mindset, and a great goal to try to achieve. To at the end of the day, just help people and give them hope. And I kind of look at my journey, if you want to call it that, up until this point, with two kind of distinct goals or periods throughout my recovery and up till today.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, would be the every single second and minute and hour of the day grind through my almost 3 years in the hospital at Walter Reed. To wake up and have your arms tied up from swelling, to not even really know if you're going to keep your arms, to being able to sit up in the bed on your own, and to have to go to the bathroom with a team of 5 to 8 corpsmen and people holding tubes or holding you wherever you don't have tubes coming out of, and to not be able to make it. When the last memory I had, I was toting a machine gun in southern Afghanistan, and almost 5 weeks later I wake up and I can't even go to the bathroom on my own or stand up or even take a step for that matter. So the moment I woke up is really when that first journey and that first piece started. And, talking about all those, whether it's, going to the bathroom on your own or standing up on your own or making a lap and circling around the nurses station, and then, the nurses or doctors ring a bell for you and everybody cheers because it's this huge accomplishment. There's so many small steps to get to that point.
Wow.
And, whether it's going to therapy every single day for hours and hours, or knowing that you have 2 to 2.5 years of surgeries before you can even think about leaving Walter Reed. And, like I said, to not know if you're going to keep your limbs, all of those things takes a process and it takes steps in order to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. So, it might have seemed like a mile from my hospital bed to my doorway or to my hospital room bathroom that, eventually I wanted to be able to just go in and use on my own. I had to first sit up in the bed. I had to first put one leg over the side of the bed. And, even doing that with my body not having moved in 4 or 5 weeks, we learned that I had to get pumped full of anti-nausea medicine before I could make that step, just because to get moving after all that time was extremely difficult on me. Exactly. And so,
Wow.
I just one slow inch at a time and throwing my legs over the side of the bed and eventually standing up. And, even though there was a team of people to, like I said, hold those tubes and hold my, casted arms or braced arms, I had to throw my legs over the side of the bed in order to make it to the hallway. And really that kind of momentum and those little steps continued. But I remember, not the exact time, but when I was home, before I moved back up to Walter Reed, so, I had to have definitely been within the first 6 months to a year of my recovery. And I remember one night, it was around 9 or 10 at night, and I was sitting at our kitchen bar, and I was trying to eat a bowl of cereal. I mean, the grenade blew a lot of my teeth out, and I hadn't had most of my reconstructive surgeries at that point. So I was trying to eat a bowl of cereal, and none of the lights were on. The TV was off. I was just kind of, sitting there in my haze of medication and still trying to grasp, I guess, what happened. And I think Mom was just home, but regardless, I just remember I completely, for the first time in 6 months to a year after getting injured, I completely broke down.
Wow.
And I just like started crying. It like did not stop. And Mom came in, and of course she immediately freaks out thinking that something painful happened or, something really bad happened. And I just told her, and my arms were so bandaged up. Really thinking back, I don't even know how I was holding the spoon. But my arms were so banged up, and I just remember asking Mom, who is going to love me anymore? My hands don't work, my arms don't work, my ears are still ringing, I can't hear anything, my vision sucks now, where do you even go from here? And I could see that devastated her, and of course she was just so, beyond sad to hear her son say that. And that not only gave me a great lesson to I need to stay strong for my family, because they've been strong for me, and now that I'm getting better, I need to give every single day to get out of this situation and to get our family back together and everything positive again. I really need to work hard to get out of this. So that was a small portion of it. But after I broke down and after Mom hugged me, and I don't even know if she said anything really, just because what is there to say?
Nothing.
I got hit by a grenade. Yeah. It is the way it is, and there's no looking back. But at the same time, you still got to deal with the next few years in the hospital, and knowing that that's coming and all the surgeries. But I remember, and I'm so thankful, like with many lessons I've learned, that happened, because I realized in that moment that I was either going to sit at that kitchen counter or lay in that hospital bed for the rest of my life, or I was going to get up, and I was going to finish that bowl of cereal, and I was going to keep trying to tackle life in whatever capacity I could. But really that leads into my second never quit moment and goal that I tried to achieve. When I was laid in the hospital bed, and I didn't know what laid on the other side of things, or I knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and I knew I was going to get there, but just to think about 3 years in the hospital was heavy and was a lot to think about. But at the same time, I kind of thought about a few things that if I did them, I would know that I was back on my feet again, and I would know that I still had the fight in me. And not that I didn't know that already, but I really wanted to prove it to myself. So the first big and main goal I set, besides the little ones and everyday grind, was to run a marathon. And so, every single day, not that I really had that in mind, but I knew that if I took care of the small goals, and, if I got up and took a few steps every day and a few steps further the next day, that, eventually I would get to that 26.2 miles. And so I completed my recovery in July of 2013, and I'd used my time at Walter Reed to do some admissions work for the University of South Carolina. So that the moment I got done with my recovery, I started school. And then in October, after that July of medically retiring out of Walter Reed, I signed up, attempted, and I completed my first and Marine Corps marathon, and first marathon ever.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thanks, man. It was so awesome. And it was awesome when I crossed the finish line, and knowing that not only did I cross this finish line when, for all those that never even made it back,
right,
to even have the chance, not only at life, but to do things like the Marine Corps Marathon, or to jump out of a plane, with Jay Redmond, actually. That's crazy. We were talking about him earlier. Jumping
Love
for
you,
a purpose,
Jay.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. And, just to do things like that and to cross that finish line just truly was a surreal moment. To have ran that 26 miles and to look back and to know that I just spent 3 years in the hospital and went through all these things, to cross that finish line really just made me realize that, you know, I'm still here. I'm definitely still kicking. And, you know, really it kind of, in a weird way, felt a little bit, you know, like the end. You know, I had set this massive goal for myself that, you know, physically, you know, doctors, whether it was a pull-up or a marathon, you know, more or less kind of told me to take it easy, and they didn't, you know if that would be in my best interest. So to hear that and to go through 3 years and to always be thinking about it, but never, you know, you can be so sure about something, but you never know that you're going to cross the finish line until you do and until you push yourself to get there. So when I did, that was just such a surreal moment that, you know, I got to run it for those that never got the opportunity, and for myself, you know, it just really proved to me that I'm still here living and I'm making the most of the second opportunity at life that I have. So that was an amazing moment in my recovery, and in the past, you know, going on 7 years now since I, you know, was injured and joined the Marine Corps.
Man, the worst thing about is the hospital stretches, man. They suck, dude. I mean, you don't talk about wiping it out of you. And I mean, I'm a medic, man. I mean, I'm in there, and when we weren't operating, I'd go work in the caches and stuff like that just to kind of get experience and hang out with the guys and whatnot. But our doctors and nurses, everybody, they are fantastic at what they do, and their job is just that, man, to keep us alive and get us back up online. You always kind of look at it like when you get hurt, you get ripped away from your platoon. I had great leadership, man. He's like, hey, this is your new squad right here. You know, you got to kind of adopt whoever you're with. It doesn't matter when you're busted up and you're in the hospital, man. You take your uniform off and you throw the shirt on with the ass missing, and that's the uniform of the day, right? And
Exactly.
and there's sometimes in there, because the problem is our guys don't like going to hospitals.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't go to one if I didn't have to go in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
So, I mean, you kind of start to die in there a little bit. It's tough, white walls. I mean, guys like us are visual motivators, kind of, and, you know, visually, if I see somebody getting motivated, we're going to get motivated.
Right.
And then we usually have stuff around us to help out with that. I mean, even if you're healing up, man, you got some poor bastard next to you, just come in, like, damn. You got to, you know, you're trying to motivate each other, but it's just in white walls and white sheets. And talking about it breaks you down a little bit, and the only way we really get through that are the nurses and doctors around us, because they're military as well. You know, they're trying to get you back in the fight, and it's those small little adjustments. And I don't know why in the hell guys like us do this, because I remember after one of my surgeries, I was still juiced up on Dilaudid. I think this is why I did it. I was like, hey, I'm motivated. I'm going to do a half marathon.
Yeah.
This is how tough you are, bro. You did a full one. I hate running. Hate it. If you see me running for charity.
You suck at running, though.
Me too.
Charity
I
hurts,
never
right?
recommend one.
Right? So I bumped off at the gums. I was like, 3 months, man, let's do this half marathon. And I forgot about it. And it came up, and all these people showed up, so I had to go do it.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go? Do you need some Dilaudid after?
Oh, bro. Yeah. I don't know if I will. I think I did wind up back in the hospital. Did I? Yeah, I did. I did wind up back in the hospital. No big deal. They expect that. Charity hurts,
You hear that,
right?
people? You hear that? Running will put you in the hospital.
Oh,
Don't do it.
my God.
Oh,
It's
man,
bad
dude.
for your health.
Right, work it
So
out.
is combat, apparently.
Yeah, working out makes your muscles hurt. Why would you do that?
Right.
Like, I don't like to work out. I'm getting sore after. I don't like being sore. But
But no, Marcus, you could not have said it better. And I like to just take every opportunity and every chance I get, whether in front of a camera or microphone, like you said. The doctors and nurses are so incredible, and they do such an amazing job. And you couldn't have said it better. You know, if it wasn't for them, who knows where all of us that were laid up in a hospital bed would be. So, major credit to them. And I actually had, most of my invitations to my Medal of Honor ceremony were all of my therapists and doctors and nurses.
That's
so.
cool.
Like you said, they're just extremely special people that, are here for a purpose and doing really great things. And them, along with my family, is, I'm a huge believer in you're going to get to a certain extent or to a place in life on your own and your own hard work and outlook on things. But, I truly think that, you don't get to your full potential or where you really could be or want to be in life without, great people that love you and support you and surround you. And, they are those people for sure. So thank you to them.
Amen.
Yeah, well, another thing is even in the military, we get that, they say that sense of humor is kind of dark and it's brooding or whatever. And then, it just kind of exacerbates it when you get hurt and you're in a hospital and
you need it, right?
Yeah, you're in there with all those guys. Kind of like, this is the deal, man. Guys who've been hurt and guys who've been in there with us while we were getting hurt, man, don't feel like you should be separated from us because we took the hit. That's not how it works, man. It could have been you.
That's what Derek said. That's what Chad said.
Kind of send it out, man. It brings that levity and lets you know we're still brothers. I mean, because that crap happens to all of us, man. But I mean, I get it too. It's just, but it's that, man. Even in our darkest days, in there with it's those smiling faces and doctors and the nurses, right? That bring us out of that, and it all has its place to push us back up online, and it's a power, man, that you really don't get. Yeah, sure, anywhere else.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part about it, hell, when we remember guys, man, when they would get shot and they would lose their eye, now they have a trident or a 8-ball or a crosshair, and we're like, oh, dude, I need one of those. That's so cool.
Kyle's got at least one with a purple heart in it. He's got one with.
You're hanging around dudes who think, now you got something we can't have yet, and you have to take your ass back out there to get shot. Let's go, man. Come on, there's a pretty good chance I can get hooked up with one of these. You see how cool his eye is? Hey, it resonates with me because my eyes were jacked up my whole life, man. If I could have had a crosshair in one of mine, dude, that would have been awesome.
Oh my God!
Every time one of our boys rolls by with that thing, I'm trying to steal it. That eye, boy.
All right, Kyle, I got a question for you. So, I'd like to shift the focus a little bit. Ultimately, a pretty amazing thing happened to you and I've heard you describe it in a few interviews as something that just you did because you were trained to do it, because you're a Marine. You were a recipient of the Medal of Honor. Can you take us through, not necessarily what it was like for President Obama to call you, but the moment when you first began to realize the profound responsibility that's associated with that medal?
That is a great question. I appreciate you asking because I always try to get into this, but, I never get asked that. It's always, what was it like in the White House? What was it like when the president called you, which was surreal and completely amazing. And I still don't think I can comprehend what has happened and what happened. But the responsibility piece is what I'm glad that you said, because, everyone sees the social media and the news interviews and the photos and all the opportunities and the smiles, but the medal is so heavy.
Huh.
It's, I survived Afghanistan and I, came back and years later I was presented with this medal that, and Dave, honestly, I don't even know if I can say it was, what I was trained to do. I think that it really was just, I was put in a unique situation, that I truly feel, like other Marines would have done the same for me. And it was just a very extraordinary situation, and I made an extraordinarily stupid mistake, which I don't recommend. But no, I got put in this situation, and I'm thankful that things happen the way they happen. Obviously, I'm thankful to be alive, but to have my fellow Marine that I was up there with, still here today, I'm just so appreciative for that. But getting back to the medal, people see so many great sides of it, and I'm glad, and I'm so thankful that I've been, afforded that platform. But at the same time, I had this medal draped around my neck that represents not only our Marine Corps, but our amazing military and all those that have worn the uniform and continue to wear the uniform and raise their right hand every single day. And not only, that vast responsibility of knowing that it represents our country and our military and our Marine Corps, but, it has, it carries with it those that not only served, but went somewhere in the world and was injured and killed and bled out and died on a foreign, distant battle land that most people in this country, thankfully so, because they didn't have to be there, but they can't even pronounce it.
Right.
And there's those that not only, gave their last measure of devotion and commitment and drop of blood to their country and to all of those that are, safely sleeping back here at home. But then there are those that not only got killed overseas and for our country, but people don't even know how they died. They're missing in action. I mean, to have all of those things that this one medal represents, and that, little me from South Carolina is presented with, and, all of the things it represents, and, then a very small aspect of it compared to that, but you get this medal that is so heavy and just such a tremendous honor and such a tremendous honorable burden, if that makes sense and doesn't sound bad.
Totally.
Not only that aspect of it, but you get this medal and the moment it's put around your neck, you're supposed to be this,
beacon of light.
Exactly. This beacon of light, this superstar that never gets down, has to do everything perfect and so on and so forth. So, there's a lot of different aspects of it, but getting back to what you asked me, the main thing about the medal is the responsibility and just knowing that something that I received, whether I deserved it or not, represents such, incredible ideas and incredible things and incredible service and an incredible country. So I'm so honored and appreciative to have it and to be able to, connect with other veterans and connect with anyone that's had a hard time through life, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. So with all of that said, you asked that one moment when I realized kind of the responsibility of everything. And, I regret to say that it wasn't until years after, maybe not years, maybe a year and a half after I received the medal, that a Marine came up to me, an active duty Marine, and, I was in this line. I would never, turn anyone down for a handshake or a picture, and I'm so appreciative for everyone that comes up. So, I was taking pictures and meeting people and, hugging it up with whoever would give me their time. And this Marine came up to me, and he told me that he did not kill himself because of me.
Oh.
And, I don't say that in any bragging way. I say that as I'm so thankful for that moment. Not that, I've ever felt obligated to get out there and go speak or, go do this and that or, show up at this event. Not that I've ever felt obligated, but at that moment I realized that I knew that, yes, the medal and everything is crazy, but at the end of the day, I'm actually truly, and whether it's one or, a million, at the end of the day, I really did just, from putting on a smile, trying to stay positive, and just, like you said, putting one foot in front of the other, like I truly impacted him and, impacted him that way that, he didn't, kill himself. And that, that was like going back to the medal. I mean, that's just one of those extremely heavy moments that, I'm so thankful for it. But, to hear that, To hear things like that, I can't quit after that.
Wow.
Yeah, I got something to say about that. You're right, man. It's heavy, right? That's a heavy experience. And what I was taught, man, and pass this down to you, the best kind of comment is don't let that medal wear you. All right, and never sell yourself short. I heard you say earlier, man, you was up in there waiting on your cosmetic surgery or whatever. You're a war fighter, a straight up Marine. I remember when I was in the hospital, man, they were trying to doctor up the scars on my face. And just for the record, I didn't get enough of them. I mean, scars identify us as a war fighter, man. You need to know what you're looking at. So if my dog's like, I'm going to fix that scar, I was like, I will break your hands, dude. If you want, kind of give me something a little around the other side over here. And
yes, that's awesome.
The guys that I came up with, man, 2 of the brothers are Green Berets. And one of them, man, he got hit so hard. I mean, his hands are wrapped up. So he was burnt so bad. I mean, his fingers fall off. I mean, just terrible, right? And my brother, man, his helicopter crashes, and the mentality that we have, man, is that's your purpose, right? And you're not wearing that medal every day, right? So when you take it off, you take it off. I don't wear that moment all the time. I mean, when you put that medal on, or if it's time to put that story on, then you go in, then you put it on. All right. I mean, and you know that you're capable of that. And what that medal tells you, you're wearing that just like a lot of those guys do. That's a beautiful part about that medal, and that's why you earned it. You can bet your ass, man. All our boys who jumped on those grenades, man, when we see them again, they're going to be like, hey, you could have been quicker. Come on, this only asshole that jumped on, and it's a mad. What people don't understand.
That's the one chance you get.
Right.
Man, it's that brotherhood, and what everybody, when they look at you with that medal, man, you're a symbol of how far we'll take this, man, and still stand and walk tall. And that's the cool part. Not cool part about it, maybe that's not the right word, man. That's the heavy part about it, and that's what reminds you daily, man, where you come from, right? You can go down in the trenches, and then it resonates, man. It's a powerful thing. People don't understand that medal has a life of its own, right? I mean, it really does. It's I don't know anything about this world, but I know a lot of those guys, and it has a life of its own, and its personality has to respond to everybody coming around it.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of times the guys wearing that, that's a heavy thing. You can't, you don't pick that guy. I picked to be, pick to be a Marine, to go in and do all this stuff, man. It's funny because everything you had to become once you put that medal on is everything you tried to avoid by becoming a damn
Totally.
soldier.
Like in your pre-brief for the going on the op. This is where Kyle, you're gonna jump in front of the grenade and get your Medal of Honor. Are you fired up?
Yeah, right. And I can't. If I had $1 for every time I have heard, "Oh, you look way bigger on TV." Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. But no, you're right, Marcus. I mean, I truly appreciate all that. But I mean, you're right. It has a life of its own, image of its own, and it's been a wild ride. But I mean, you couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, I remember I've had my medal on twice. One time when I got it, and then it was on my uniform when I had to go do this. I was in this big compound. I was sitting down and getting my blood pressure checked in one of those cuff machines.
Right.
And this World War II guy came, hey, saw his hat on. He had a walker. He come walking past me. Then he kind of strolled back and he popped me on the chest. And he looked at me and goes, "I'm sorry you had to go through that."
Oh, wow.
That's what he said. And then he looked at my trident and he goes, "But I see you wanted it."
Yeah,
That's the kind of thing, man. I was like,
that is awesome.
Yeah, I did. I want everything I got. I mean, that's how I'm made.
Wow.
I mean, great battles are reserved for great warriors, man. And it's just kind of one of those you train, and that mentality and everything that goes into that. Man, if you were accepted onto that battlefield, man, you walk tall when you come off of it, no matter how beat the shit you are, because you're still there. Like, you want to see what a big dragger I just went through? Look at his face. Now you take that medal is blue. There ain't nothing blue on me, man. That's that kind of fire you got to go up in you, man.
I got to start coming on here more. Y'all are really getting me motivated.
There you go.
I never. Oh, that's a lie, man. I was standing there coming out of my uniform, and one of the hardest dudes I know walked up to me, and we had an inspection, and he was straightening up my, I'm kind of squaring me away.
You need a little straightening up.
It was Lennox. All right.
Yeah.
Who's a meat eater, right? And
Yeah.
he looked at me and goes, what's that one? I was like, "This is Navy Cross." He goes, "Pussy." Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, it's like we don't even care. It was embarrassing that I didn't even want to wear it out there, right?
Right.
But they knew I would be out of regs. The only medals we wear are expert pistol and rifle, so you know if someone doesn't have the E on there that they're a shitbag. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of I earned that one, right? And just the guys around us, man, it's that mentality. Hey,
To support one another.
You're wearing our past, and you're wearing the life and the memory of all those guys, man, who put out in that capacity. And with you, man, it's the ultimate one. Look, the Medal of Honor is just something they had to create to signify the situation that you're in, but you really can't even put words on it, man. You can't identify it with that, but just for our own kind of peace of mind, man, just thank you for wearing it, and let us thank you for all your boys, the ones that didn't. Yeah, man, that's why you got broad shoulders, right? Because the thanks, you're going to carry every great thing that comes with that, and you're going to carry every bad thing that comes with it. And it's not one of those deals that we're looking at you and recognize you for that moment. That's what the medal signifies, all right? Now we're going to watch you for the rest of your life go into good and bad situations, get married, have kids, struggle with that, get them into college, and grow into an old man, and then and it's that kind of how you respond to that, because you're always in the public eye and you can take it, right, man? You can just take it. And you're going to go down because you can't be on point 24/7. That's the beauty about when you take that thing off, man, you take it off.
I love that
absolutely.
advice. That's great advice, Marcus. And I want to, add to this with you, Kyle, a little bit, this is the first time we've ever had a chance to chat. And I'm a Christian, and I believe God does things for us in particular ways that gives us what we can hold, what we can endure. And I think God gives particular responsibilities to those that he believes have an incredible strength. And Kyle, you're one of those individuals, man. And you're one of those people out there. And what I love most about you, and from the external, what I witness, is your sincerity about it, your honesty. And that, in my mind, it makes me better to know that you do appreciate the burden of that. You do all the people that have passed, all our fallen brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
It
The
doesn't
fact
go
that
on
you
deaf.
acknowledge both sides of that means that you acknowledge the honor it takes to wear that thing. That anybody who says what you just said, man, you know that, hey man, not only did you earn it, you deserve to wear it and keep wearing it. And it's everything I got, bro, to crawl back in my house next to my wife to get away from all that madness. Know that you have a strength that I don't, man, that you to walk that line in that fraternity, that's a big deal, man. They wouldn't have put that on you if they didn't trust me. They did their homework on you.
Yeah, they did.
You know what I'm talking about? That's not one of them deals. That's not a fly-by-night deal.
Can I ask
thanks,
you?
guys. I mean, to say thank you, and I truly appreciate those words of being an understatement. That really meant a lot, and was, I'll forever remember that advice. That was very cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the things before we finish here, that we always like to ask our guests is, what are the things that you, 2 or 3 or 4, however many things, what are the things that you tap into every day, Kyle, when you wake up and you're late for class, or you're just trying to, be a good son or a good friend, or you're studying for a tough exam, or you're dealing with some bigger issues, like you said. What are the things that you tap into on a day in and day out basis that our listeners can apply in their lives? A couple of different things.
That is a great question. This is something that I speak a lot on when I do get to travel and do get the fortunate opportunities to speak to people and try to motivate them. The main thing is keep it in perspective. I mean, when you start your day or you're going through your day, and granted, everybody has to learn, everybody has to go through life, but, and not knocking on college students or age or anything, but, just as an example, and it takes those life lessons to appreciate, the small things and to have that perspective. But, whether I'm walking through campus or, overhearing a conversation, to hear, people complain, well, it's hot outside, or, my cell phone service sucks, so on and so forth. Really, think about not only what you're saying, but what you're allowing yourself to think and kind of go into throughout the day. I mean, I guess if you haven't been in tough and rough and hard and, mentally and physically trying situations, maybe, unfortunately you might not ever get this perspective, but, truly think about, what you're saying or complaining about or what you're stressing about, whether it's an exam in school, your next class, the next day at your job, or whatever. Think about, and it sounds kind of cliche, but think about, how great we have it and how bad it could be. I mean, there are, over 50 million people around the world every year die from unclean water.
Wow.
I mean, that is, one example. I mean, the people in Afghanistan, as are so oppressed over there, and we have done incredible things, but that's just another example of everywhere around the world is these very unfortunate and hard and trying situations that people aren't going through the day to have it interrupted by bad cell phone service. They're going through the day to have it interrupted by people that, their next door neighbors that, want them dead or don't want them around anymore because you believe in something different than the person beside you. So, there's all these, extremely, tough and big situations. And, I understand that, everybody has their own struggles and their own problems, but, when you really encounter those problems, think about, other people out there and other places in the world and other situations that you could be in. And when you get to come home and take a shower and kick back on your couch at the end of the night or whatever you do, you get to do that in a free nation that allows you to do that, where you can post something on social media. Well, first of all, you have internet and a phone in the first place, but you can post something on social media, or, you can hold an anti-war, protest on your school campus, and you can do all these things and you don't have to worry about the repercussions. I mean, yeah, you might get slammed on Instagram or whatever the case is, but, in the grand scheme of life, in the big picture, we really have it good. And obviously I'm not generalizing that to everyone that lives in this country. There's some that obviously have extremely hard struggles and might not know where their next meal is coming or their meal at the end of the day is coming from. So, we all have those struggles, and everybody, there's always one person out there every single day in the world that it is the worst day of their life. So I try to keep that in mind and really, never ever look down or point fingers or judge or do anything like that. But, whenever the opportunity arises, I do take the chance to tell people, like, hey, okay, you might have to stay up till 3 a.m. getting ready for this exam you procrastinated on. But after your exam, you can come back and you can sleep and you can go out and have a nice meal and go see your family and do whatever you want. And, some people will never get a chance to ever stress about a test in school.
Wow.
So, some things, as hard as they might be, look at it as, a lesson of perspective and gratitude.
That's just profound. That's a unbelievable. That couldn't have been a better answer, Kyle. Thank you so much. We've got one last thing to ask you, and that's
not a closing minute round.
No. Yeah, the closing mad 20 minutes, right? And these questions are really hard. What is your greatest failure in life? No. So what we want to know is what's next for you. I mean, where do you go from here? How do you look forward in the future? And what do you want to accomplish, in the short term and the long term with your life, Kyle?
Another great question. Y'all really got them today. Thank you very much. The next step, for years and years, it was whether I was motivationally speaking and traveling or just going to an event to go and support, all day, every day. It's, what are you doing? What's the next step? And I kind of got into a rut where I was just saying almost a rehearsed answer that I just spit out, to all 100 people that would ask me that night. And, I don't really know if I would have changed it because I haven't known what my plan is really. But what I have learned is, obviously life comes at you very fast sometimes and can throw huge curveballs. But knowing that, I've learned that you can plan to an extent, and then you just have to be, while staying positive and working hard and trying to do good things, to a certain extent, life's just going to take over and you're going to have to roll with the punches and take it how it comes. So, I'm kind of at that point. I'm graduating from the University of South Carolina in December.
Awesome. Gamecocks!
Yeah.
Nice work.
With a major, thank you very much, with a major in international studies. And so, I did a few internships while I was at Walter Reed, and one of them was with a counterintelligence agency, and that contributes, like all of them, so greatly to our homeland security and to keep us safe here at home. And so with the public speaking that's come along, for so long you just plan where you want to go in life and the job you want to do. But kind of for my example, my story earlier, when I truly felt, the responsibility or the weight of the medal, or when I realized what I'd truly, been honored with, going back to that, I realized that in some capacity for the rest of my life, if I can, physically and mentally and emotionally, I need, not preaching what I'm preaching, but keep relaying the lessons that I've learned through very hard and tough and unfortunate life circumstances. But, now that I'm on the other side where the grass is greener and, I found that light at the end of the tunnel, tell people the lessons I learned from all of that hard stuff and the perspective I've gained, and to also tell them that all of those terrible things that I'm telling you about, now I'm appreciative that I went through it, and that, if I wouldn't have gone through all those things, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today, and I wouldn't have learned the extremely valuable lessons that, fortunately, because 99% of Americans don't go into those dangerous, bad areas and combat zones, they will not know. So I feel like it's my duty and, my honor and, in a good way, my obligation to stay out there. And like I said, whether it's one or a million, to have that Marine or that service member or just that, civilian off the street that supports me, to have them, tell me that I helped them get out of bed in the morning or that they didn't kill themselves because of me, that is starting to really shift to my focus of what I want and need to do in life. But at the same time, I earned my degree and I want to, work in some capacity. I think, right now, having another 6 months before I graduate, I'm just kind of in the brainstorming stage of, I've narrowed down where I might want to end up, a few places, but really just thinking about how public speaking and the job and the medal are all going to kind of blend together and work with each other and how things are going to be from here on out.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was explained to you, Cowboy. You threw that. I mean, that public speaking deal, whether you want it or not, it's going to be there. People are always going to look to you, civilians, because they know what that medal means. There's a point in fact. There's Medal of Honors older than you from different wars. They're around. You're going to be around. There's going to be Marines coming up underneath you that are going to need you. I mean, this thing gets passed down. So does that medal. That's kind of what it does. It's going to find somebody else to wrap its self around.
Yeah, to become integrated into the soul.
Another reason why you've been identified is because we know how bad wars, no matter where they're fought, can get. And you're going to need somebody standing there at the other end of that tunnel when they come through there, looking at them going, hey, yep, been through this one. You ready? At round two. All right. And that just, that falls on you just by default. So, and as you grow older and you go out, like, man, some of this stuff's weight and the questions, and you'll be able to field those. It teaches you, man. Like I said, it has a life of its own, and the character of the medal will always keep you in check. One, because there's guys who wear it and are still alive, but two, because of the tradition and history behind it. And that's actually a guiding light. It's like an angel on your shoulder. But well, you got both, right? The devil and the angel are up there, man, because it's calling at you from both sides: the warrior and the civilian and the diplomat and all that. It's all encompassed in that one thing, man. And you're a symbol for that, of those next generation. Their wars, it's already here. So yeah, it's tough, but like I said, man, there's the guys that around you that wear that, and anytime you have a question, you need to fire that thing away to them, and they'll square you away. Yeah. And then there's going to be situations you get in because it's your generation, right? You're the next one up and coming, man. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. I mean, standing there for the pass down. But from what I understand, I mean, the drive you have, you got that. That's why that thing's around your neck. I mean, it finds
those
itself.
who can wear it.
Yeah, in our collective, man, that thing, well, for whatever reason, man, maybe it's the guys that wear it before us that have died, man, it finds those guys, and it found you. So, yeah.
Well, thanks, man. Thank you for all that. That was awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, bro.
Kyle, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Your wisdom, the way you describe life and how you're living your life and what you come through. You are I feel so privileged to have spent this time with you. Thank you. God bless you on this journey. God bless your family. And brother, we just know this. We are always behind you at every turn.
Thank you so much. I can't even tell you what that means, but I will say I will be back for sure.
We were hoping you were going to say that, brother.
And I had a great time. I truly did. And, I appreciate you supporting me and having me on. And, I'm honored to have worn the same uniform as you. So keep doing your thing. I'll keep doing mine. And I look forward to an in-person meeting in the near future.
Amen.
Oh, it's been our honor. Take care.
Bye, brother.
All right, guys.
That guy, he's dialed in. I mean, he is dialed in.
Sure. I mean, he went through all that stuff at a young age. He's a young
super young.
And man, that like we said, man, that medal thrusts a whole new life on top of you in an instant. I mean, it's literally you wrap it around your neck, turn around, somebody asks you a question that's probably due to the seasoned dude who's been wearing it
right
for the last from the last war. And yeah, he's right, man. I would imagine there's a big stress on that because you represent us. I mean, you have to walk
all
tall.
of us.
You never bow your
Before,
hair, bend your damn knee, nothing, man. Yeah, just kind of who you are. Man.
Stand by, young man.
Yeah.
When I should have asked him is, what is it like when Mike Thornton or Tommy Norris or Howard or one of these guys, Doc Ballard, comes up to you and says, "Son, are you ready for the talk?"
Yeah. Oh, it's great when they all get around, and we get a little loose and listen to those guys start shedding their stories, because then the rank will come out, and then the war will come out, and then you got some other dude calling one of them guys, man, that's weak. I read what you did. You know what I'm saying? And there's those guys that walk in that wear that thing, and it's like, God dang, this guy's story's so ridiculous. I feel like I shouldn't be in the room with them guys.
Right.
And there's guys that wear that medal that they're like,
absolutely. I mean that's a club that's so exclusive. It's only really paralleled by being an ex-president of the United States, almost. What other club is that exclusive?
Yeah, the ex-presidents.
You can't find one in sports. You win a Super Bowl.
No, you're ex-presidents. That's it, right? Talk about a close-knit fraternity, man. To get into, what you got to do to get into that? You not only got to sign up, man, take your butt over to some place and fight till you can't even get it. Just get it done, baby.
Or jump on a grenade.
Yeah, somebody hands you a grenade and you're like, watch this. I'll take a bite out of this bitch for you, man. Blow half my face off. Come back with a smile, right? I mean,
and be positive.
You had to do something to get it. So that
it's huge. And Listen, I think the office of the presidency is phenomenal. But there's a component of it that because of the campaigning, because of, the negativity of politics, that it shifts it and it keeps it separate from the Medal of Honor recipients. Because
it's distinctly different.
I'm
just talking about the exclusivity of it.
Oh, for sure. But I think for
I didn't mean that.
Yeah, we're talking exclusivity, but I'm trying to take the guests to another, our listeners to how we perceive it, right? And as being former operators, as being guys that know Medal of Honor
It doesn't
winners.
matter who you are, what war you've been in, how hard you fought, man. One of them dudes walks in the room, everybody's like, "Hello."
Snap two.
Pop two, pal.
Pop
we got
two.
One. We got a serious one in here.
Well, I remember the first time I met a Medal of Honor winner. I think I was in high school or someone came to our school, and I knew it a little bit about it. I knew a couple of big ones from World War II, but then there's one standing in your presence, and you hear the story, and man, I didn't know nothing. So it's almost like now, having had a small little taste of combat and being in the teams and the effort, it's like now it blows my mind.
Right before we came on about the Medal of Honor ones that step up in our head, and literally because they feed them on AFN during the commercials, man. There's what? What did that guy do?
Yeah,
man?
totally, man. Like that dude Howard, the Green Beret cat, they call him the real world Rambo. I mean, he was put in for, I think, 3 Medal of Honor citations, and I mean, you can't make that up, man. And so I think that's the power of it. There is such gravity to not only, like you were saying to Kyle, the medal itself, but saying, hey man, you can bear the burden. It found you. I loved when you talked about it in that sense, and really the grand scheme of how God picks us for anything, right? And I think Kyle was chosen. He was chosen not because all right, you're going to be a medal, but he was chosen because of the character he had.
Oh yeah, the medal reveals the man.
Yes.
When you get up in that level, it's not the other way around, man. You just went through the door that put it on you, didn't give it to you. I mean, you don't win. Hey, Medal of Honor winner. Trust me.
Yeah.
You didn't win.
Thanks.
You didn't win nothing,
No
right?
thanks.
Yeah, I earned it.
3 years of surgeries. Yeah.
That's a earned.
That is a recipient, right? I just, I think to myself, and I think if you're a listener out there, first off, thank you for participating in this show. This has by far been one of my favorite shows we've done. Because of Kyle and the significance and the role he plays in our nation and what he represents. It's just it really is an honor to be a part of that. But if you're a listener and this is your first time checking out our show, this is what the show is about. When you heard Kyle talk about that moment of weakness, and then all of a sudden he flipped it and he didn't quit, right? He came back. And he strives, and you listen to him talk about bearing the burden of the medal, but he does it, man. And he does it with a smile on his face so he can help that one soul or 1,000,000 souls. That's what the process of the never quit mindset is about. And if this is your first time here, thank you for coming in and finding us. If you're a listener and you've come back, thank you for being back again. What we ask both of you to do is we say, hey, please share this story. Share Kyle's never quit story and stories with other people out there that that need help. Share it with family members. Share it with other vets that might be struggling. Hell, share it with just yourself over and over. You can never listen to that man talk about his story too many times. And if you got to go back to it once a week or once a day to start out to get through your never quit moment, do so. If it's checking in with him once a month, or checking in with Goggins' story, or Chad Fleming's, or Charlie Dan's, whosever story it is, don't be afraid to check back in with it to propel you over the obstacles of life. So
we're going to close this out by reading his citation again out of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sound good?
That sounds good to me.
Presented to William Kyle Carpenter. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as an automatic rifleman with Company F, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, Regimental Combat Team 1, 1st Marine Division, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, in support of Operation Enduring Freedom on 21 November 2010. Lance Corporal Carpenter was a member of a platoon-sized coalition force comprised of 2 reinforced Marine rifle squads partnered with an Afghan National Army squad. The platoon had established Patrol Base Dakota 2 days earlier in a small village in the Marja district in order to disrupt enemy activity and provide security for the local Afghan population. Lance Corporal Carpenter and a fellow Marine were manning a rooftop security position on the perimeter of Patrol Base Dakota when the enemy initiated a daylight attack with hand grenades, one of which landed inside their sandbag position. Without hesitation and with complete disregard for his own safety, Lance Corporal Carpenter moved toward the grenade in an attempt to shield his fellow Marine from the deadly blast. When the grenade detonated, his body absorbed the brunt of the blast, severely wounding him, but saving the life of his fellow Marine. By his undaunted courage, bold fighting spirit, and unwavering devotion to duty in the face of almost certain death, Lance Corporal Carpenter reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.
Semper Fi.
Never quit.